What's up?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, Jen?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, okay, we are in this used to be your studio, right?
That's right. This one's an old one, but we've revamped it. We refurbished it. Got a lot of new gear. So it's upgraded now in Hyperfy, the Hyperfy edition.
I love it. Yeah, I decorated this place. It's got a lot of our arts in here. But let's jump into what we want to talk about. I got some stuff that I want to show y'all in terms of Openvoxels and just kind of really go into the history of it, do a little bit of background. So, and we got some like props here on the table. You can see like the one closest to you is your studio and makers, that's your build, the Godfrey Gallery.
That's right, man. CryptoVoxels is awesome. It goes back probably one of the most earliest metaverses, and it's really cool that you have these on display.
I would say, in terms of the blockchain like space, there's plenty of virtual world history, but on the chain, it is OG. We'll talk about that later, but we're gonna visit it. I'll show y'all. We got these little screens here in front of us in which we could all open up and play, but that's later. Don't do that right now. But first I want to kind of focus your attention to what's on the screen over here. And what I've got going on this screen, this is Anarchy Arcade. It's kind of like my memory palace for where I kind of spatialize a bunch of notes and ideas, and I basically took my devlogs and mapped them out in this garage lab that you see here. And this is kind of where Openvoxels has been incubating. Some of these screenshots that you see on this wall, Janus Web that you see over here, this is an open source web client that was permissionlessly made by a third party. All of this was. So, a great example of permissionless innovation. Down over here, we've got game within a game. That's what it looks like, well, what it used to look like back then. Taking a look at this, you see some voxel characters on chocobos, whereas this is like the official version and this is the unofficial version. And that's kind of one of the things when it comes to Introp is that, and here, look, custom avatars. Do we have that in Voxels yet? No. And one of the benefits of Introp is it allows you to kind of like previs the future. You can try things without having to wait for developers to release it from the top down. You could just go ahead and implement it in your project like a library, that you're using for a program. It starts to fill up your imagination with all the kind of connections that you see in this space, right?
Yeah, I think it's awesome, man. To really, bring it together through Interop is a unique and novel way to put it, man. It's cool seeing them side to side and almost, creating simulations of the future for how things could be permissionlessly, just doing it. And the experiments you've done with these CryptoVoxels and all these worlds, it's really cool, man.
Many forms now, and is, of course, shifting rapidly as things happen and companies invest, and things change around. And it really seems like it's more so in the hands of the community to craft things like this. And it all kind of blends together, and hopefully everything will coalesce, and the real metaverse that's always kind of been bubbling under the surface will come forward and flourish.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something emergent, something that is more of a bottom-up phenomenon. It's kind of what you're describing.
No matter what, passionate people are going to be working on these tools, and I feel like whether or not big companies support it, it will get made in some form. And this to me is like one of the premier examples of that, of just, you have the vision and you just craft it out of nowhere, from the ground up, developing and innovating in ways that people have not yet done because these tools don't exist yet. So you got to build the tools to make the thing. And it's like a iterative process. It's a ton of work, but the trailblazing is really what I think I latch onto here. It's very pioneering.
Thank you. Yeah. Virtual production can aid in the coordination challenges of like building a more open metaverse, right? Like, we need to visualize it first. That's why a lot of people look at, well, you see a lot of articles talk about Ready Player One and Snow Crash and these movies, because they serve as like shelling points of what is the metaverse. You know, they're trying to describe it, they're trying to talk to their friends about it or to a wide audience, and media is one of the most powerful points of reference that people use to talk about these abstract, and new concepts, right? Well, we need the tools to storytell our version of it, like in a lot of these other IP medias, you see IP from all these big studios, Marvel and Fortnite and all these things that you won't have a true license to own because they're owned by somebody else. And that's not necessarily the vision. That's not necessarily the kind of metaverse I think we live, work, and play in all the time. That's like a theme park more so. I want to build a metaverse that, is worth living in, essentially. And I think digital property rights are a big part of it. And Voxels was like one of the earliest. Probably is actually, they managed to ship a client before Decentraland, and if you want to see, I've even got like right next door a museum of Decentraland in here.
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's amazing to see the trend, like the transition between all the tech and the blend between them all. So what's Openvoxels in general? What's the ethos behind Openvoxels?
Right, so you saw a lot of experimentation happening there in the early years, and Openvoxels was created out of a sort of desire to take things to the next level, because all of that was done like pro bono, passion projects that didn't really make it past a proof of concept, like, cool, we got it into Blender and Neos and, all these little demos. Well, what if we can turn that into something, So there's kind of two parts that we're playing. One is an archiving service. We're able to take these snapshots of the virtual world in moments of time. And so, now we can explore, and we will in a bit, a window to the past. And as these worlds evolve, I think it's important that we have sort of memory so that the culture and the ones who pioneered and built this stuff have a place in history, as all this stuff grows. But also, from those snapshots, we can make art, so like the world can become an environment that you could use as set design for shooting movies or games or music videos, whatever have you. And I think that's a really interesting aspect of a digital library, or like, providing these snapshots, is that people can then use them to tell stories in, Yeah,
I think it's a great idea. I mean, having, the snapshots, the different snapshot of the past, being able to go back there and load that up in the future is going to be incredibly valuable.
Indeed, yeah. We even have a snapshot of that. Why don't we check it out like right here, because you'll see how kind of things look back then, right? Well, in these tablets right in front of us, if you click this screen,
okay,
we should be able to all jump in and see each other.
Like Todd Howard told you, it just works.
All right. Cool. And that's you guys right here?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you will follow me, we're going to go walk east towards Maker's District, and then just take in the scenery as you do, because we're going to take this exact route, but in the past. So a lot of these buildings, we are in the oldest parts of Origin City right now. These are all the OG parcels that dropped in 2018 and 2019. You'll see the clock tower, right? The clock tower is basically kind of what helps ground Maker's District together. It was inspired by Majora's Mask.
Did you build this?
I built the first versions, and then Toxan built the new version, but I built this world right here with the knuckles. This one over here, this is got some links into other platforms. So if you walk in here, you'll see this is like a portal gallery. And one of the earliest use cases when many of us arrived in here was using voxels as like a means to test interop with. So like all these are ways to launch into different native apps and web apps. Some of the links may not work, but if you walk across the street here, here's another portal hub. Go ahead and get up from your chairs and join me over here. Now this world might take a while to load, just bear with. It's worth it. Oh man, so cool to see y'all here with your avatars. Here, drop in
Hello. Yes, it's me.
city. This is a snapshot from 2019, 12/13/2019.
I can't believe 2019 was 20 years ago.
I know, right? Everything you see is explorable. You could visit all those at the very edges, and it all has collision. And one of the things about this particular area that we're in is that in Voxels, you couldn't actually even see those skyscrapers that you see over there. It was always obfuscated by fog and just the distance that you're able to render at one time. Whereas in here for years, we've been able to have a perspective and, you know, be able to enjoy this view. So as you can see, like some of the stuff stayed the same, like this Mario looking building. Some of this stuff has changed owners over the years. And that's kind of one of the things about these worlds. It's like, it's a slower growth and cultivation of history and culture, whereas Twitter is like a rapid raging river, you know? And it erodes people's memories too quickly. I think this is a way more powerful medium of which we could tell our stories for, and Voxels is only the first. We are adapting the same processes and scripts for other platforms. You know, a lot of virtual worlds are pretty fragile, just like the internet. You know, the internet never had a mechanism to have a memory, you know, and websites live and die very quickly. It took an outside org like the Internet Archive to implement the means that we could archive websites and view them 25 years later. Similar to like noclip.website is for video games, I want to do something like that for the metaverse. A Google Earth meets the Wayback Machine. Voxels is where kind of building out a lot of the tooling, but it's already starting to branch out into other platforms.
Virgin 13 TV.